just measured out a little over 900 grams of wheat berries, just in case some gets left behind in my mill. I sifted out all of this from here, and so now this is ready to be ground into flour. Good morning. Don't mind me in my bathrobe. You saw me feed my starter last night for the first time ever with whole wheat. Now with whole wheat period, but with freshly milled wheat. Now I did use soft white wheat simply because I had it left over from making biscuits earlier. I looked it up and Google says you can feed your starter with anything. So I was like, well, we could just try it. And it has risen, but it is falling fast. It hasn't even been 12 hours since I fed this. And I can tell because I can see like the whole wheat marks. I think it rose about up to here, which is a decent rise. I would say it's at least doubled, so that's good. But I really need to use it before it falls all the way back down. And so that does not give me time. It barely gave me time to grind the wheat for this recipe. But it definitely did not give me time to shower and get ready before I popped on camera with you guys. So that's why that's why my appearance is the way that it is this morning. And now I'm gonna get to making a first 100% whole wheat loaf. So in this bowl I have 900 grams of my whole wheat flour, 700 grams of water, 250 grams of sourdough starter, and I actually forgot to put the honey into this recipe, but I do like this recipe better with 3 tablespoons of honey. So put that all together and you're just gonna mix it until it combines. It is gonna look a little different, as you can kind of see here, than if you're using all-purpose flour. So just keep that in mind. Cover it and let sit. Okay, so this is gonna be the longest autolyse I have ever tried because I have an appointment to go to. So I have about 30 minutes to get ready right now. Then go to my appointment. Then come back and do a stretch, I guess, or add the salt. And then I have another appointment. It's gonna be interesting. However, if you're not like me and you don't have an appointment to go to, that you're planning this all around, which if you're just starting with sourdough, I would recommend not doing that. Then you would mix everything up. So in here is the water and starter and flour, and it is going to sit anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. Now, I will say, in the few trials I've had so far, the better autolyse is to wait an hour when it's whole wheat because it doesn't absorb water as quickly as like all-purpose or bread flour. So I would let it rest an hour, and then I'll see you back when we add in the salt. And hopefully I look a little bit more put together. Now to this, I am adding 24 grams of salt and an additional, I think I started with 50 grams of water here to mix into the dough. But because I know sourdough well enough, and whole wheat sourdough needs to be a higher hydration, I actually ended up adding an additional 25 grams of water. So in total, I added 75 grams to get it where I wanted it.
So here we're just doing stretch and folds. If you watched my other sourdough video, or you've done sourdough before, you know what I'm talking about. So you're just gonna pull one end of the dough up and pull it over to the other side and press it down. Turn the bowl a quarter way and do it again until you've done it at least 4 times. And you're gonna do that and then let it rest for 30 minutes and then do it again, which this is the second one that you're seeing here. And this is how it looks after that second stretch and fold. It's kind of coming together and then it relaxes again. And now this is the third stretch and fold after another half hour of resting. Then you cover it for one more half hour and do your fourth and final stretch and fold the same way you did the other 3.
Is all 4 stretch and folds, and now we wait until the morning. Well, it appears that starter was plenty active. Actually, I don't know what I'm going to do with this tonight because I don't want it to overflow, so maybe I'll just let it. I'm not sure. Let's try to give you a more proper view, since this is the last view you saw it from. Just kind of tucking it in. Maybe I can make it rise in the center. I've actually changed my mind. I put this dough together about 12 hours ago and I'm still awake. So, and it's doubled in size. So I'm gonna go ahead and shape it and put it in the fridge tonight. And then it will be ready to bake tomorrow.
So the point of shaping is to build tension on top of the loaf. So here I'm just stretching it out. You don't have to stretch it out super far, just enough. I'm not trying to break it. I'm gonna fold each half into the middle and then roll it up. And then this is my technique for building that tension. And what I'm just doing is rolling and tucking under with my hands to create that tension on top of the dough. I think once you actually get your hands on it and start rolling it, you'll understand what I'm talking about when you feel it. I'm doing the same thing again on this one, folding it over. Rolling it up, and then rolling and tucking at the same time. So you kind of want to tuck in both ends, and that builds that tension. Then you need it to rest for 20 minutes. And what this is going to do is help your scoring, because you're going to have a nice taut dough on the top. So you do the same thing, but it's not going to stretch out as far, which is good because that means it's holding its shape. Now, I rolled mine into like this oval shape the second time and not a round one because I'm putting these into loaf pans. If you're going to put this into a bowl to rise so that you can bake it in your Dutch oven, that's totally fine. You just roll it back into a ball, or a boule, I think it's called in sourdough language. Now you can see here that the dough isn't really filling the pan, but right here I'm going to wrap it in some kind of airtight container. This isn't like super airtight, but it works super great. Just putting it in a grocery bag. It's going to go into the fridge, and it is going to fill out the rest of that pan in the fridge while it rises. It's a slower rise in the fridge, but it is enough to do that. As you can see here, it has filled out the pan more. Not all the way, but it will rise even more in the oven.
Now I'm just scoring the bread, and I apologize. I did not realize my hand was covering most of what I was doing, but on this loaf, I decided to do a lot of shallow scores to make up for the fact that I wasn't doing one large score. And you can see that here. And then on this one, I decided to do a large score, which is where the bulk of the rise is going to happen in the loaf. And then I just filled in with some shallow scores for just the artistic effect, honestly. So when you're ready to bake, preheat your oven to 500 degrees. If you're using loaf pans, you preheat it with a pan of water in the bottom like you see here. Immediately reduce the temperature down to 450 and bake for 40 minutes. If you're using a Dutch oven, then you put your Dutch oven empty in the oven the entire time you're preheating your oven. And then take it out, put your loaf into the Dutch oven, put it back in for 15 minutes with the lid on, and then 15 minutes with the lid off. And that's it for my fresh milled sourdough whole wheat loaf. I hope this was helpful and you enjoyed it and you come back for more. So until the next video, I'll see you then.